my name all the time. I'm like, what? What's calling
Good evening,
me?
everyone. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Pints and Quarts. We are Craft Beer Nation, and we're going to cover in about 30 minutes. We're going to cover some of the current news from the week, some goings-ons, some events from around the country, some reviews that we've got in our beer community on Google+, and just kind of have a little conversation. So sit back, enjoy, in 30 minutes or less. So I'm Matt Miller. Tonight we've got Randy Gardner, we've got Lola Larcy, we've got Gil Mello, and Doug Nolan. So we're going to jump right in here with what some of us think is some pretty big news or exciting things. Talked a little bit last week about the AHA, the American Homebrewers Association conference, was in Grand Rapids, Michigan last week and culminated with their awards banquet. I believe it was on Saturday was the grand banquet, and we're kind of excited. Agatha Feltis, who has joined us on several occasions to talk about BJCP standards and judging, she's probably going to kick me if I get it wrong. She's a master level judge of some kind with the BJCP scoring setup, and she's brilliant, and she is fun, and she is now a silver medalist. She won silver in the 12C category for a porter, and the name of her porter is Foam. Oh wait, that was her group. I don't know what the name of her beer is, but she's part of the Foam Blowers of Indiana, the FBI, as her homebrew club there in Noblesville, Indiana. I guess that's right outside Indianapolis. So congratulations to Agatha. We're real excited for you. You know, we're always asking for people to send us beer, and the next time we talk to her, I'm sure all of us will ask for for a sample of her silver medal winning. There were 364 entries in that category. So she was number 2 out of 364. That is a strong finish. So I guess there were 45% more competitors in the competition this year. So
the crazy thing about that beer too is it looks like she brewed it many years ago. It's just kind of been hanging out.
No. I think she means many years of brewing that recipe.
Oh, I was thinking that she.
Yeah, no, I think she's brewed it many a time since she's honed that recipe.
Oh, I thought
she brewed it 4 years ago.
Oh, well, maybe we can ask her about it. Maybe she's got a cellar full of porter, and we could get some 4-year-old porter from her. We'll have to clarify that. We both read that differently then. So anyway, the big winner this year, and now, of course, last year's Homebrewer of the Year was Annie Johnson, and we've had her on a couple of the shows, too, and talked with her. And she won it for a light lager, which is a tough style to brew, and she won that. That was her. She won the first in that category and went on to win Best of Show with it as well. This year, the guy's name is Robert Helferding, and his beer, somebody help me, can you remember what it was? Oh, he had a Scottish-Irish ale. He was and that was his. He won gold in that category, and then that beer went on to win Best of Show. So he is from a homebrew club in Florida, I think. We'll have to talk to Jeff Davis and see if he is familiar with that homebrew club, but I saw a picture of him. The guy was about beside himself, collecting his ribbons and trophies. It looked like a gracious winner. Yeah. I mean, I've tasted lots of homebrew, and for you to send this thing up and have national level judges and all this competition and come away the best. I mean, that's hopefully the guy's on his way to a brewing career somewhere, if he's not doing it already. So anyway, we talk about beer judging. We talk about beer scoring, and of course one of the biggest competitions of the year that uses a different scoring and different category breakdown than the BJCP, but the biggest one of all of them, I think, of the year is the GABF, the Great American Beer Festival in Colorado. And Gil, you found something this week where they changed the scoring.
Yeah, well, there is no question about the importance of the Great American Beer Festival. You know, they just been doing great, and the number of breweries been increasing, and they had problem in the last couple of years, but mainly last year they got 750 breweries applying for the festival, and not everybody could get in. So what they did, during the World Cup of Beer that happens in Denver as well, they did a little experience in there, so they decided to do the GABF on the same system. So they raised the cap for the applications up to 1,400, so they can take up to 1,400 breweries this year, which is amazing increase. And the way they are able to do that, they also increased their capacity of judging. So I think it was 4,800 beers, a little over 4,800 beers they judged last year. But this year they're going to be able to judge a little over 5,400 breweries, so beers, sorry, 5,400 beers. So what they're going to do, they did a simple math, for numbers. Let's say 1,000 brewers apply. So what they're going to do, they're going to take 1,000, and then you have, let's say, 500 beers that can be judged. So all they're going to do is 500 divided by 1,000, so 5 beers per brewery. So the amount of beers each brewery is going to be able to get into for competition, it will depend on the amount of breweries they're going to apply and be part of the competition. So this way they can guarantee that everybody can get in and have some kind of form of being part of this competition. I think it was pretty smart of them. I mean, they have to do a lot of issue a lot of apologetic, press releases because of the problem from the Ticketmaster problem to. They had so many problems last year. So I think they did it's a good change. I think it's going to help a lot with the festival. So I hope they can do okay. I mean, they if you think about it, they started with 22 breweries. You have over 700 breweries nowadays. That's a pretty big thing.
I'm interested in the numbers only in the way that I keep reading that there's 27 or 2,800 breweries in North America operating right now. So really, even when they open the gates, they're only 1 and 2. Only half of the breweries are going to be able to be represented. So to me, that seems like a small number. I would have thought.
Right, but there's a lot of us brewers that are not going to participate in that. It's not easy. I don't think they're going to have that cap. They think they're going to be way under that number. If they do reach that number, whatever the 1,400 number gets, they're just going to cut off and they will close the inscriptions for the. It's it's a 3-day festival. They get 49,000 attendees to that festival. That's crazy. It's going to be over 3,100 unique beers for you to try if you can do that in 3 days.
I'd try.
It's a great thing, and I wish more breweries around this area would try. Where I am, there aren't any breweries that have attempted to go. The closest breweries to me are more towards Matthew in the Charlottesville area of Virginia. But I don't know what the
maybe the cost is prohibitive, so that keeps the little guys from going. So.
Well, it also, a lot of big breweries didn't get in last year because people were not expecting that, and the applications were filled in 2 hours. In 2 hours, it was gone. So whoever waited to do that afternoon didn't get in.
Yeah, and I mean, it could also be the case that, maybe it's just flat out that these small brewers are too busy trying to keep up, and they can't afford to take time off and head over to GABFA. I mean, especially if you're only brewing on like a five barrel system. I mean, you pretty much got to be brewing all the time.
Well, because there are definitely, I'm sure those guys that go out there don't go out there for, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I mean, they probably start packing up shop to head out there, the first of the week, to take it all in. All the beer activities are available to you in Denver.
Yeah, so that's it. It's a small change, not a lot of change. It's going to be between October 2nd and 4th, and I envy you, lucky son of a guns, who actually got a ticket to go.
I know. I would love to go.
Yeah. Maybe we can get press passes next year. Next year we'll have a year of this show under our belt. And we can get press passes.
We'll have a booth there.
Yeah.
And I'll make sure I wear a fedora with a press pass on the side.
Yeah.
I'll just wear a catheter.
A catheter. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go to
the urinal.
Yeah.
I'll be dragging my little urinal behind me. I'll be like, fill it up!
I mean, those adult diapers, they do a great job absorbing it.
Find out.
Hey, all right. So the next thing is just a quick story here from the days yesterday or today that Randy found. I know the breweries, everybody is so happy. So this shouldn't be too groundbreaking. But what did you find, Randy?
And I got to tell you, I'm gonna try to remain objective about this, but it's hard to be objective with this stuff going on. And it's another case about a brewery suing another brewery. But usually when it's a craft brewery suing a craft brewery, it's kind of like how you can pick on your brother, but nobody else better pick on your brother. Mm-hmm. Well, this is the case where somebody else is picking on your brother, where AB InBev is now suing Natty Green down in North Carolina because of their nickname Natty Green that they have. When AB InBev came out with Natural Ice back in, I think it was 1977, they trademarked like 3 or 4 phrases that had to deal with the term natty.
Yeah.
So and so mind you, AB InBev's beer is named Natural Light, whereas Natty Green is named after someone, Nathaniel Green, and his nickname was Natty. So
yeah,
it's like AB InBev. Yeah, they want to sue because they decided to trademark every single natty combination they could think of back in 1977 when this beer first came out. And they claim that they don't want to oppose Natty Green's ability to sell the beer. They only oppose their ability to trademark the beer, to trademark the name. What?
But did they got sued by their family too? Because other members of the family, wasn't that the same brewery? Or was it a different brewery?
No, I think you're talking about Shafley, right?
Oh, that's right. It was Shafley. That's correct.
And also, mind you, so apparently this looks as if a lawsuit that somebody would bring about when they're concerned that somebody's infringing upon their territory, right?
Right.
Natty Green is gearing up their production to hit 20,000 barrels a year this year. So they are a detriment to the success of Anheuser-Busch.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they just started bottling within the last year or so. Because I remember I went to a wedding in Greensboro a few years back, and we went to the brew pub in Greensboro, and at that point in time, and this was last summer actually. So I think they've just been bottling for maybe 6-8 months, and at that point in time, you could only get it at the brewery. Growler fills.
I guarantee you AB InBev leaves 20,000 barrels of beer in their mash tuns.
Yeah, that's their Krause
basis. Yeah.
but that could be just about a message too. I can bet there's some lawyers crunching words and numbers there and figure a perspective that brewer's name is going to be around, so other brewers might going to be, and 1 + 1 is 2, but +1 is 3, and it's arithmetic. They're just going to keep growing. So it's 7% already of the market.
And actually, to just interject one more little thought on this, because it upsets me as much as it does Randy. I went to college 20 years ago. Let's just leave it at that. And there was a beer from the Baltimore area that some of our viewers and listeners might know called National Bohemian.
Natty Bo.
Natty Bo. So where's the Natty Bo lawsuit? Maybe Natty Bo ought to be pissed at Natural Ice.
And I bet you Natty Bo is probably bigger than Natty Green is right now.
Yeah, for sure. And Natty Bo probably predates Natural Ice.
Yeah.
Maybe they are owned by AB InBev by now.
Yeah, that they might be a macro.
This is just another excuse for the big guy to be a bully, man. That's all it is. Because, I mean, how can Natty Green, that's owned by 2 college buddies, lawyer up against Anheuser-Busch? They know they can't lawyer up against him.
Yeah. So they'll be afraid of the big bill, and they'll let it go, or they'll sign off on it, and business goes on. So we're talking about big breweries. We talk about AB. We talk about the little guy, Natty Green, which 20,000 barrels is not little. But in the middle, there are the big craft breweries, and this week everybody knows. Well, anybody who loves Lagunitas knows that they opened their tap room in Chicago on the 18th, and started serving out of their new Chicago facility. But Doug found something this week that kind of comical, kind of exciting, kind of maybe not even true. But Doug, what did you find?
Well, if 2 breweries wasn't enough, they're looking at opening a 3rd. I guess in the craft beer world, everybody wants to get their beers out to their consumers as fresh as possible. So what a better way to do it than open another brewery? It doesn't look like they've said anything about. They haven't even talked to the banks about loans or even started investigating a location. They're just kind of put it out there that, hey, maybe we should look into a third. I don't know how much more production they could get. It looks like, according to the article online, they are making about, I guess, 2.2 million, or could make upwards of 2.2 million between the two breweries in Chicago and California. And they're in 34 states. And with the Chicago brewery running full steam, they're talking that they could hit all 50. So I don't know.
I mean, that is Sam Adams' size. Didn't Sam make $2.5 million last year, or the year before, or something? So, I mean, those numbers are astronomical for Lagunitas. And I love it. If they could make 2.5 million barrels of sucks, and I'd swim in it. I'd be happy.
Does that mean that I might start seeing them in restaurants instead of just at Total Wine?
If they go, well, they say that the new brewery will produce 300 barrels and could go upwards of 1.7 million just for that brewery alone. If they hit 1.7 million, you're going to see Lagunitas everywhere. You're going to see them in your grocery stores, restaurants, convenience stores, gas stations, wherever beer is sold.
Right there next to Magic Hat.
Yes.
That'll be cool.
And the hipsters will stop drinking it because it's everywhere, right? So
yeah, I think Sam Adams and Sierra Nevada is still larger than them. I'm not sure about New Belgium. I don't remember how big, but I think they're pretty big too.
Well, and
Sierra Nevada's getting right there.
Yeah, and Sierra Nevada's ramping up, and I'm sure Sam Adams isn't gonna, they're gonna capitalize on the market share that they can get too. So I guess it's just as the industry grows, these guys are in position to do bigger things. Mm-hmm. So I certainly am not going to criticize them for it. So, all right. What else? Talking about big beers. San Diego did something this week. This one kind of caught me off guard. So, Lola, what's this about growlers in San Diego?
It's kind of funny because I actually misunderstood it until about sometime this evening. I realized I misunderstood it because the way it is actually doesn't make sense to me. All right, this is what Stone put on their Google+. Victory over archaic, nonsensical laws. The San Diego City Council just overturned a stipulation that visitors to our Stone Brewing taproom could only carry out over 64 ounces of beer. Now anything from 500 milliliters and up is A-OK. Now when I first read that, I thought they meant they couldn't do 64 ounces, which made me mad. I was like, if I want 64 ounces, I'm going to drink 64 ounces and I'm going to pass out on their floor. But I realized when I was looking for articles on it and I wasn't finding exactly what I thought they were talking about, I realized I had it backwards. They can do 64 ounces of beer. The minimum they could do was something like 32 ounces, I think. So they couldn't do like just 16 ounces if they wanted to.
All right. So they couldn't take it. They couldn't sell bombers. They couldn't take bombers out.
Yeah. They could only do I think it was 32 ounces or more. Something like that.
Which a 6-pack or a 4-pack of bombers or something would qualify for.
Yeah. Exactly. So I don't even understand why they would do that. I mean, I thought they would want people to do less alcohol.
Well, except that if you're buying one beer, you're probably intending to drink it on your way home.
Yeah, Pennsylvania has some similar stuff. You can buy a case or 6-packs, and that's why they did the bottle shop law to go around that, but some spaces used to, like if you have a beer shop only, you can only sell case or a 6-pack. You cannot break the pack.
Okay. Well, I hate to tell them this, but I know how to break a 6-pack myself. I've had lots of experience. So it's probably a good thing that they banished this law because it was silly, and I doubt it really deterred anyone from drinking and driving.
Yeah, probably not so much.
Yeah.
So. All right. Well, the new segment we wanted to add this week is we wanted to talk a little bit about some of what our followers and some of our community members are doing and drinking, and in the craft beer community on Google+, we asked people to put a hashtag out. Use the Pints and Quarts, # Pints and Quarts, a hashtag to tag your reviews, and we would pick one from that and talk about it this week. And the one we picked this week is from a guy named Patrick Ryan. and he's a Canadian. It looks like from his public facing profile, and he reviewed Wookie Jack. So this is a Firestone beer that I would probably think everybody in this group has had before, and it is truly one of my favorites from them. It's a big hoppy IPA with that spicy kind of rye kind of kick to it. So I'm just going to real quick. It's only 2 paragraphs. I'm going to read you what Patrick wrote, and if you come to the craft beer community, you'll see. We're going to reshare this again from the Craft Beer Nation page, but it ports a deep cola red brown with 1 finger of persistent tan head, minimal lacing. Nose is dominated by piney hops with dark roasty malt tones and coffee and chocolate in the background. This is me making a side. I don't remember getting coffee and chocolate, but I guess with a roasty beer, you can probably get a lot of that if you've got a subtle palate. Taste is similar with a distinct rye edge and pleasant coffee bite playing against the hoppiness. Mouthfeel is surprisingly light for the color, but still tends towards the fuller body with a pleasant warming and lingering bitter finish. Another really good beer from Firestone Walker, lots of depth. So he goes on to praise Firestone Walker, which is what we always do, and he gives this a 9.5 out of 10. And I really can't disagree with it. This is one of those. If I find bombers on the shelf, I've got one on the shelf or in the fridge here right now. It's a big commitment. It's 22 ounces, but it's hoppy. It's spicy. I don't have a problem drinking all of it.
So is that the Wookie Jack that he's talking about?
Wookie Jack. Yep, that's their rye IPA.
See, I had it many times. I just can't find the chocolate.
Well, you get a lot of the roasted tones, though.
I got roasted, but not chocolate. Well, but yeah, again, maybe he has a more accurate palate. It's most certainly.
Yeah, and if anything that's got roasted malts in it, if you stop and get past the spice from the rye and the big hop presence is there, you can find those. You can find coffee and chocolate on the back of just about anything that's roasted, I think.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so thank you for Patrick for writing that review and sharing it with the nation, and we're gonna find out where you live and send you a sticker, a CBN sticker. They are hot off the press, and if you want yours, tag your reviews on Craft Beer Nation or Craft Beer Community with the Pints and Quarts, and we'll pick another one next week. So that is that for the review. Let's see what else. Oh, we had Randy found something else about some mainstream beers changing their titling, or they're gonna use the craft beer name a little bit. What did you find there, Randy?
Yeah, so apparently the Brewers Association is changing the definition yet again of what it means to be a craft brewery. And I think they said that prior, a craft brewery only had to be 3 things: small, independent, and traditional. And as far as ingredients go, their flagship beer had to be made with only barley malt, as opposed to, say, corn or rice. Well, they're lifting.
Did they had a cap for how much you should produce to be craft? Or?
Well, I'm going to get there. So
Patience.
They lifted that barley malt requirement. And now the production cap is now up to 6 million barrels a year, where it used to be 2 million barrels a year. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I swear I think I remember reading an article recently where they spoke about the same thing, and it made it seem as if they were changing the definition to suit Sam Adams so that they could still stay into the craft category.
I think you're absolutely right, and think
I was just sending that into the text as you were mentioning that, because they aren't independently owned. They have, you can buy stock in Sam Adams.
Well, I don't know. Well, I guess
they're not owned by a larger brewery, though.
Right. Right.
I have mixed feelings for those things. Part of me is in favor, and part it's not. It's like I think it's okay, but then there's that fear. Where are we going to draw the line eventually?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Gil, and that's some of the concern that people in the craft beer community have, because they feel as if the definition is going to be constantly evolving, then the quality that allows other breweries to come in that aren't traditionally considered craft, and the quality of what is considered craft could potentially drop. So now you got breweries like Yingling, they're going to be considered craft. August Show, they're going to be considered craft, and there's this one I always mispronounce it, but it's Narragansett. No,
That sounds like a
not
medicine.
Narragansettt. I don't drink the beer, so
Yeah, I never
I've
heard
never
of
even seen it. But you get these guys; they get to now use the moniker as craft. But in Yingling's defense, they say that they're not going to change the way that they market their beer. So they're not going to slap craft on the label and change the way that they market their beer. But it's only a matter of time before other people who weren't considered craft before this change, once they do get considered craft, I just know that there's going to be craft slapped on their label, and they're going to try to use that marketing to their advantage. And also the smaller guys, like in the case of Dan De Grande from Bison Organic Beer, and I agree with him. He thinks that when these bigger guys come in, it's going to start drowning out the voices of the smaller guys, and I think that that's definitely a possibility. So I don't know. The Brewer Association, they're going to do a survey this year, and they're going to of all the breweries, and next year they're going to release a new list of what's considered craft. So it's going to be really interesting to see what breweries weren't on that list before that will be included after the definition change.
But in England's defense, they are a fifth generation family-owned brewery, and they may have chosen to do a few styles and be on the lager, but who says you need to do ales to be a craft beer, right?
Right. No.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, we weren't disagreeing with that. Well, I definitely think that's a good point. I do wonder, though, who does that benefit? It only benefits like 4 or 5 companies, right? It doesn't benefit us, the little guys, at all.
Yeah.
So now if it's going to lump my one barrel neighborhood brewing into the same category as 2.5 million barrel Sam Adams, the name is meaningless. It's losing its meaning.
The distinction.
So, right. So now there's big craft breweries and small craft breweries. Well, we used to have macro and micro, and now there's going to be macro and nano and super micro and everything else. I guess you're going to have to continue to break it down. I want somebody can correct me because my memory is terrible at this kind of stuff. It's modified by and the brain cells are being killed by slow alcohol poisoning. But didn't somebody write something where Sam Adams held production back at the end of the year one year because
they did 2 years ago.
Yeah, because they were going to clear that number and they didn't want to lose their craft label. They were going to expose themselves to trademark problems, calling themselves a craft brewery. So to me, this sounds like Jim Cook went in and said, "Listen, guys, I need to go over that number. You need to change it, or else I've got illegal bottle labeling all over the place. Help me out." So, I don't know. I guess the people who will define it are sitting right here at this table.
Absolutely.
We're gonna buy the good stuff, and that's what's gonna stay around.
Leave it what it is.
I wonder what's the opinion of people from Lagunitas or Stone or Sierra Nevada, which are growing, as we just talked about so fast. What are their opinion on this? How they're viewing this?
They might be okay with it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we're right down here to a half hour, but Gil wrote an article today. He actually wrote 2 articles today, so go to the craftbeernation.org and read the stuff that he's put up today. He wrote a little bit about one of the things we talked about earlier, but he also did a little review of, not really a little, an in-depth review of some of the craft beers, craft beer bars and breweries in the Lancaster County, Pennsylvania area. And the article is there. It's kind of funny. It's well written, and if you're going to that area, you got to read it because he lists the places that are not to be missed. What did you want? Do you want to touch on anything on that in a minute, Gil?
No, just people start looking outside of Denver, San Diego, LA areas, and a lot is being happening on the East Coast. We talked about DC last week, and the same is with Philly, Lancaster County. It's just amazing. Just if you don't want to read the article, at least go look at the list of the breweries here, and you're gonna go, oh, so those are from Pennsylvania, because you're gonna be surprised how many excellent.
It's only a half dozen paragraphs. Definitely read Gil's article. He tried to let you off the hook, but read it.
That's Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, not Lancaster, South Carolina, by the way.
Did I say Lancaster, South Carolina?
No, you didn't. You didn't say the state.
The difference is that you say Lancaster, South Carolina. You say Lancaster County, Pennsylvania.
I take that back because in South Carolina, the people who live in Lancaster say Lancaster. Everybody outside say Lancaster, but
That's
Well,
the
I
same
stay in
here.
Lancaster.
That's how we know the outsiders.
What it really says to me, the article that he wrote about his area, and talking with Randy last week, and talking with Lola 2 weeks ago about Jacksonville, is that really America is just covered with these little regions of quality craft beer, and it doesn't matter where you are. If you're in, if you're in the middle of South Dakota, there's probably 2 or 3 breweries that are worth checking out, and it's just really exciting time to be.
If you're a mayor or representative and you're not tapping this into the tourism on your area, and if you're looking, what can I do to bring people, you're missing out if you're not looking into breweries,
Yeah. And I guess everybody's going to get a piece of it because it's here to stay. I heard on NPR today they were talking about Portland, and they have more breweries per capita in Portland than anywhere else in the United States, and they're just nuts about that. So anyway, that's Science Friday today, by the way. So when the podcast is out. Yeah, they spend 15 minutes talking about beer and brewing. We're out of time, but we want to talk real quick about festivals and new releases. The Breckenridge, our good friends at Breckenridge, have a Mountain Series sampler pack. I've seen a couple of pictures of it. I haven't found one in my area yet, but it's going to be, 4 year round and then 2 seasonal beers in there or something like that?
There are some beers that are being made just for that pack. You won't be able to get anywhere else. And it should hit the East Coast in another 3 weeks, I think.
Oh, another 3 weeks. Well, no wonder I haven't seen it around here yet then. So it's making its way across to the East Coast where I'm at. Couple of quick festivals. The Yards Craft Beer Premiere. That is in the Albuquerque Rail Yards, and that looks like it's just tomorrow. So if you took a left at Albuquerque, you need to get out of the hole and go to the Albuquerque Craft Yards Craft Beer Premiere. San Diego International Beer Festival is still going on today, tomorrow, and Sunday. That sounds like a lot of good time. That's at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. Wyoming Brewers Festival, Cheyenne, Wyoming, is going to be this weekend as well, too. And Stone's Sour Fest is just a one-day deal on Sunday from 10 to 2. If you are in Escondido, California, that is something I probably would make a real effort to go see. But being Stone, there will probably be a huge line, so go early and take a lawn chair. And then Northern Virginia's Summer Brew Fest it's in Leesburg, Virginia. You ever get out to Leesburg, Randy?
It's Leesburg's actually like 45 minutes away from me, so I don't get out there that often.
Is that where Adroit Theory is? Are they out there in Leesburg?
Well,
yeah, we need to land on Leesburg something.
It's Purcellville, but it's all in Leesburg County, I believe.
More of that area. All right. Yeah. Well, they've got a festival tomorrow and Sunday, so that ought to be something for the Novas and the Virginians to get out and check out. So that is it.
Sunday, Jacksonville's having a festival. I forgot to mention it.
Oh, you did? What is it?
Yeah, we're having a festival. It's in the Riverside section. Randy, I don't know if you know what that is, but it's the Riverside section of Jacksonville, and it's put on by Folio Weekly, which is our weekly free paper, and it's going to have all the local breweries and everything.
Is that is that near the river somewhere?
It's right off the river. It's the opposite from San Marcos.
Everything is off the river.
It was in the Riverside district. So I was just trying to be funny.
Yeah, it's right under.
The night, and it totally sailed and missed.
It's right under the I-95 bridge.
Well, I know where I-95 is. So, all right, that is our show for the week. We are back next week with another episode. Until then, everybody, drink the good stuff, stay tuned in, and mind your P's and Q's.
Cheers.